My name's Brian, and you're watching Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. Thanks for joining me again. Today's video is going to be about the ThruNite T30S V2 flashlight, and I want to tell you a real quick story before we get started here. This is actually the third model of this flashlight I've received. The first one did really well on the light test and the function test, the waterproof test. Everything functioned perfectly. I dropped it. First time did fine. I dropped it from about waist high. The second time it quit working. So I contacted ThruNite. To their credit, they said, no problem, we'll send you another one. They sent me another one, and pretty much same results. If you've seen Andy Tran's video on Interbark Outdoors channel, he had kind of the same problem with his when he actually used it, mounted it to a shotgun. The shot from the shotgun caused it to fail. So contacted ThruNite again. They said, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to stop the production. We're going to figure out what's going on. Had too many issues, and they had a problem on the circuit board, a bad soldering connection. I actually repaired the one that I had before, one of them, and it worked fine, but you don't want to do that with a new flashlight. So they retooled, redid their production line, and they sent me this one. And the only difference in this one is, and while you may see some switching out on the footage, because I don't know how much of this I'm going to reshoot, but this has got a shiny stainless steel bezel, and the other original one had a black bezel. Other than that, they're exactly the same. Functionality is the same. Everything, all the specs are the same. So we're going to check this one out, show you some close-ups now, and then we'll talk a little bit about the functionality, show you a couple of tests, and wrap this thing up. I don't want to drag it on. Okay, so this is the ThruNite T30S V2. This light features a Cree XM-L2U2 LED. Runs on one 18650 rechargeable battery or two CR123A batteries with the included sleeve. This flashlight features 3 brightness levels from 5 lumens to 186 lumens to 860 lumens. It also has a strobe feature. It's water resistant to IPX8 standards, impact resistance to 1.5 meters. Okay, well that was the close-ups and specs of the ThruNite T30S V2. I did want to show you a couple of things I really like about this light. First of all, it comes like most ThruNites with a really nice little holster, belt holster. It's got a snap-on with Velcro attachment back here, so you can hook it several different ways. It's elasticized on the sides, and it just very good. I typically don't carry mine on my belt, but if you're a person that does that, this can come in really, really handy. It also comes with a little lanyard ring, with a lanyard clip on it that actually, there's a hole in this anti-roll ring here that clips on. And then the lanyard itself has these adjusters on it, so you can strap it to your wrist or whatever you want to do. If you want to, sometimes you might want to leave it hanging and swing it up or whatever. I don't know. It comes with that. It also comes with a couple of extra O-rings and a really nice feature, an extra on-off switch button on back, switch cover, because this is going to be one of the things that's probably going to be the most likely to wear, because it's kind of rubbery, so I guess it could wear out. They give you an extra one, which is really cool, and it's not that hard to take apart and put that thing in there. I replaced one on the other one, like I said, when I was doing the working on the circuit board. So that's the case and what all comes with it. A couple things I really like about this light. First of all, I like that the mode selector switch is on the back, so if I'm holding it like this, which is going to be typically how you're probably going to hold it if you're using a firearm or anything, whether there's a lot of different ways to hold it with a firearm, but if I'm holding it like this, it's going to be near my thumb, and I don't have to try to search around for it. Some of the other ones, you hold them like this, they got the button up here, you really got to kind of find it. This one's right there where you need it, so you can actually turn it on and just click it with your finger or your thumb. And if you're going to weapons mount this, and it is weapons mountable, it has, I think it's a 1-inch barrel, but if it's a standard weapons mount, then that's good, because you've got your button on the back and your selector right here where you would have your other, if you're right-handed or left-handed, where you'd have your hand up there. So it just makes it easy to get all the controls on the back here. I also like the fact that it's got the memory, so that whatever brightness you leave it on, when you turn it off, it comes back to that same brightness every time. Another cool feature is the instant strobe. If you pick it up and it's turned off, you hit that button back here on the back, automatic strobe. But it's momentary, so when you let go of it, it stops. You know, it's got a half-click momentary on. You click it all the way, it stays on. They're not pretty standard features, but you know, all lights don't have them, and I just like some of them have different combinations of features. I like the features on this one. Probably never used a pocket clip myself. It does come off. You just take the cap off and unscrew this, and you're good to go on that. This crenellated bezel ring here actually comes off. If you don't like that, you can just have your plain flashlight, you know, leave it nice and black. I think that's pretty good because, you know, if you did have to hit something with this, it would probably help. It not only helps protect the lens, but it also gives you a pretty hard surface to hit with. I think it's going to give you some shine here too. I'm not sure how that'll go. We'll see at night. It's my experience that nighttime videos, at least with the big kind of video camera that I have, which is a little Canon Vixia, it's not a super high-tech camera, you just can't really tell a whole lot of difference in flashlights. They just don't seem to show up. We'll try to do that. Maybe I'll do a spot test on the wall or something. But the main thing I want to do before I go any further with this is I want to do a drop test, because the first two fail the drop test. If this one fails the drop test, it's going to be a wash on this video. So, okay, so Gary, you can see me. Get down here with you. See, I've got a like a paving stone here, a little concrete block, and I'm going to do this exactly like I did the other test. It says 1.5 meters, which is about 5 foot. I dropped them from 3 foot and they both failed. So I kind of do with a waist high thing. I'm not going to get ridiculous. Typically, you're not going to be holding your light up here. You'll be holding it somewhere around here. So we just do a normal use test. Turn it on. So you can see it's on. Let's make it a little brighter. All right, so you can see that. We're just going to drop it and see what happens. From about right here. All right, there's one. That hits really solid. There's two. We'll get it one more time. There's three. So I'm gonna call that a pass. I think they fixed the problem. Way to go, ThruNite. Okay, well, as you can see, working just fine. You don't know how much I hate to do that to these lights, because the finish on these things is just so nice. And I hate to just on purpose drop these things and mess them up. But especially, you know, due to the problems I had with the first one, I want to make sure we got a good test on it. And I'm convinced that it's okay. You know, could you break it? I'm sure you could slam it down and you could put some force behind it. You could tear anything up. But under normal use, that's about, you're going to drop it from somewhere, you know, waist to chest high. And it hit really solid. I don't know if you could hear it, but I was cringing every time I dropped it, and it did fine. So ThruNite's kind of restored my faith. Honestly, the first few flashlights I got from them, I dropped the heck out of them, no problems. I was really surprised when this thing failed the first time. When the second one failed, I was really surprised. So I'm glad they got the problem fixed. And way to go, ThruNite. Okay, so real quickly again, I just want to show you the different modes and how long they say that they'll last. It starts at 5 lumens. It says that's good for 20 hours with one 18650 battery. And that's pretty good for like reading a map or just, you know, real close work at night. Because in my experience, if you get too bright a light at night especially, you know, you can wash stuff out and it really blinds you for doing close-up work. The next level is 186 lumens, which is stinking bright, okay? And that's good for 7 hours. I mean, I remember when I got a 130 lumen flashlight a couple years ago, and I was like amazed at how bright it was. Well, this is 186, and that's the medium. The high is 860 lumens. I know there's a lot brighter lights, but 860 lumens is pretty bright. And they say that's good for 110 minutes. Tell you what I did, I turned this thing on high and left it, and just with the timer on, it lasted over 3 hours for me. Now, I don't have a light meter to know if it had lost any intensity at all. I'm sure it had, but it was still really bright after 3 hours. So, which is 180 minutes, right? If my math is right. So I exceeded ThruNite's projected or published burn time anyway with one 18650 battery. Left it on, like I say, for well over 3 hours. At 3 hours, it was still really bright, and that was about as far as I wanted to go with it. So I did not continue to leave it on. I think I had something to do that day, but that's the performance, my performance testing on the ThruNite T30S V2. What we're gonna do now is wait for it to get dark, try to do my best job of showing you how bright this thing gets, and maybe just dunk it in some water or something, and be back to you. They also sent me a charger, and this is the MCC2 charger, and it is able to charge two 18650 batteries simultaneously. And what's cool about this charger, it comes with, if I can get it apart here, it comes with, of course, a wall plug, right, for plugging it into the wall. And it also comes with a cigarette lighter type plug to plug it into your car. So I can tell you that I sucked the batteries down just as low as I could, and they were down to about 2.7 volts. And the full charge is 4.2 on these batteries. And in my car, it took a little less than 4 hours to charge up a battery from the lowest I could get it down, which is about 2.7, up to 4.2, full charge. And so in the house, it took about the same thing. They're charged independently, and the way they work is it's got a little spring-loaded thing here. You make sure you got your polarity right, because these batteries, they kind of look the same almost on either end, but they're clearly marked as to which one's positive and which one's negative, as is the charger. You can see positive and negative there. So we just want to make sure they're right. So you put it in and you just push that down, and it's spring-loaded. And they don't really fit in there like in a slot, so they've got some play in them, but that's okay. Just make sure that the ends are on the contacts, and it actually can hold two, and it'll charge two at one time. It'll charge them independently, so if one's empty, one's half empty, or whatever, it doesn't matter. It'll charge them up. These batteries are supposed to be good for 500 charge cycles, and then it's got a little meter. When you plug it in, it tells you what the current voltage is. When it gets up to 4.2, it'll be full. So this thing works really, really good, and it's a lot cheaper to go ahead and spend the money up front and get the 18650 with the chargers than it is to keep buying those CR123s, because they're a couple of bucks a piece is about the cheapest I can find them. You maybe can get them a little cheaper than that, but a couple of bucks, and when they're gone, they're gone. So these, you always keep one rotated out. It's a really good deal to have. So if you're going to get a flashlight that uses 18650s, which most of the really bright ones do, I would recommend getting one of these chargers. Okay, so we got the T30S V2 here. Go ahead and turn this thing on, cycle it down the mode a little bit. Get it turned on. It's about 11. Can you see my watch? It's about 11:15 at night. Just going to drop it in there and give her about 30 minutes, and we'll come back. Okay, so it's about 6 minutes till 12 midnight, so around 35-40 minutes somewhere. I'll have to do the math. I don't remember what it was when I started, but you can see obviously that it's still working just fine. It's still on. Let's take a look at it. Still doing good. Let's cycle through the modes here. If I can find the button on the back in the dark here. Here we go. There we go. On off works just fine. Working pretty good. Okay, standing here on the golf course because I thought that'd be a pretty good place to show you this. I want to show you first of all that little button on the side here. This is the mode button. It actually glows in the dark, which is pretty handy to have, so you can see how to orient the thing in your hand when you turn it on. Because when we turn it on, if you can even see this, usually it's hard to see with the camera, but there's my hand. And this is on the low. This is like 5 lumens, so not a lot of outward illumination. Hit the mode switch and go to the next one, which is 186 lumens, and you can see maybe that it gives you a little illumination out there, going out into the distance. So we'll kick it up to the final, which is 860, and you can see that it just absolutely is a huge difference. Going out into the distance, it's really hard to see, but take a look and see if we can see up in the trees up there. So you can see pretty good bit up in the trees. Again, that's low, medium, you really can't see anything. High you can. So it's kind of a shame that the cameras don't really do a good job of it, but you can just see it. There we go. Finally, it's really bright. Really does a good job of lighting up the night, so to speak. So there's that. Okay, well that was the ThruNite T30S V2, and as you saw, this thing takes a licking and keeps on ticking. They got their whatever issues they had resolved. Can't fault them for that. Everybody has problems. They stepped up to the plate. They took care of the problem, and in my opinion, they've corrected it. So it's a really good value in a flashlight. It is weapons mountable with a standard weapons mount. They advertise on the website that there is a tail switch adapter available for it. They don't have that anymore. It's going to be a manual operation. I don't know if another tail switch will fit it or not. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with stuff like that, but I do know that I asked them about that because it was on their website, at least it was a couple weeks ago, and they said that option is not available anymore. So, and the literature that came with the light said that, mentioned it also. That's not, so they need to update their literature. But altogether, I'd say this is a really solid light. They've solved the problem with the drop test. It's bright as all get out, and it's got some really handy features. If you're looking for a nice light, a tactical style light, this T30S V2 might be a good one for you. I can tell you mine sleeps next to me every night, right next to, well, anyway, it sleeps on my nightstand next to a couple of other things that, just in case. I hope this has been helpful. As always, thanks for watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for clicking that thumbs up if you like this video and sharing it with your friends. If you want to help this channel financially, please check out the Amazon links below. Don't forget to check out the mystery video down here. Maybe it's something you haven't seen. And survivalonpurpose.com, Survival Scouter at Twitter, Survival on Purpose at Facebook and Instagram, and all that good stuff. The links will be below. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. See you next time.